Sir, please start.
Namaskar. Good evening, all. Welcome to the MAHA IAP. This is the second episode of Smart Pediatrician with Dr. Samir Dalwai, a very innovative idea, which we can see the very innovative leadership. And after the first successful episode of the Smart Pediatrician with Samir Dalwai, we are today going for the second episode. And I hope this is a very good academic phase from means different academic phase for all the stalwarts from the different parts of the India. Over to you, Samir.
Samir sir, unmute.
Samir bhai, you're muted.
Unmute. Please unmute.
Yes. Good evening, namaskar and pranam to all of you for this wonderful evening today. And thank you, Dr. Sanjay, Dr. Amol and Maharashtra IAP for giving us this opportunity to come up with the second episode of Smart Pediatrician with Dr. Samir Dalwai. And SMART actually stands for Strategic, Mindful, Aware, Resilient, and Tech Savvy. And the whole idea is to look at life beyond academics or life beyond pediatrics and to talk about skills and behaviors and attitudes that are needed to really generally be happy in life, because I think that's the ultimate aim of what we are looking at. Now, we had the inaugural episode last 15 days back, which had an amazing discussion where we talked about how does one look at growing one's own practice and how do we go ahead with it. Today, we are going to look at another topic, which is the next part in the series, which actually is how do you choose the right platform for your career. So armed with a medical degree, we have studied right from 9th, 10th standard, perhaps earlier. Now you finally go through all the exams, you become a pediatrician, and then you're out in this real, I won't say big bad world, but definitely the big scary world. What do you do now? Do you start your own private practice? Do you join a clinic? Do you start a clinic? Do you join a nursing home or start a nursing home? Do you apply in a government medical college or a private medical college and combine it with an evening practice? Do you take up a corporate job? Do you take up a full-timer's position? What exactly are the options and how do we weigh these options against each other? The other part is many of us who have been working for 10 years, 15 years, 20 years now start getting a bit, put off by whatever is happening. We want to do something else that is exciting. We no longer feel that we are doing what we really joined for, or we may have had enough of it. And then we may want to actually look at a second innings. So what is the concept? How does one look at a second innings? How does one decide what is enough? Where does one go, etc., etc.? So all these questions are what really continue to worry us, that continue to keep bothering us. And we have no idea. So in fact, when I shared this topic, many of my friends said that we wish this topic had been discussed when we were undergraduates or when we had passed out in graduation. And it would have been easier for us to have known what exactly we do. Now to discuss this topic, we have an absolutely incredible panel of speakers with us today. Like I said, none of them need an introduction, but Dr. Piyush Gupta has been
these things, they go on.
President that I have worked under, had the honor and privilege to work under him. We all know him as a master teacher, and he is currently the ICMR Dr. A.S. Painter Distinguished Scientist Chair. But we all know him as a former principal and professor UCMS Delhi, a gentleman who started his career in academics, went on to become the editor of the Indian Pediatrics and then the president of the Indian Academy of Pediatrics. But after all this also, unki pehchan is basically as a teacher. And hundreds and thousands of students he must have counseled, who must have asked him, sir, what must be doing in my career? So ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together and please welcome our dear Dr. Piyush Gupta, sir. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir. So thanks a lot for joining us.
Good evening to all.
Thank you, sir. So thanks again, and we will be relieving you on time, and we've started on time as we promised last time. The other distinguished guest for this evening is somebody who brings to us a wealth of knowledge, experience beyond pediatrics, because we all know him as an internationally reputed pediatric gastroenterologist, and his work in liver transplants in the entire scientific aspect is phenomenal. But even beyond that, he has branched out at the same time, not branched out, but also developed a great amount of work as an administrator of phenomenal international repute to the extent that today he's the group medical director of the entire chain of Apollo Hospitals group all across the world. There must be at least 85, 90 hospitals across the world, and all of them report into our dear respected Dr. Anupam Sibal, sir. And we are so proud and so happy that in spite of your phenomenally busy schedule, sir, you've been able to find time for us. So, ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Dr. Anupam Sibal, sir.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Samir and team. Namaste. It's a privilege to be a part of this interaction. Thank you.
Thank you. So kind of you, sir. I now turn to Dr. Soonu Udani, who everybody knows as the teacher that they always wanted. And if they have any challenge in intensive care, any problem, the person they can approach at any time is Dr. Soonu Udani. So she has an illustrious career as an undergraduate and a postgraduate as well from the JJ group of hospitals. Then she's gone abroad and she's chosen her field of interest, that was intensive care. She came back and she joined Hinduja Hospital, which was a charitable or a trust hospital, did not start a private practice or did not take up a corporate job, has really, really developed not just her own section, but the entire department of pediatrics at Hinduja Hospital. And now she's again working at a specialized children's hospital, the SRCC hospital as we know it, where she is now actually bringing up the entire hospital, which is concerned with the focus exclusively on children. And we are very, very fortunate. We are very happy to have your presence here today, ma'am. So all of us always look forward to speaking with you or discussing with you whenever we have any challenge. And I will have one moment. So ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together and welcome the one and only Dr. Soonu Udani.
Thank you for your kind words. I don't know how many lies you've told, but that's all right. And I'm really happy to be on this platform because it's like you say, यही हमारी movie offbeat हो जाती है. So let's.
Absolutely. So thank you so much, ma'am. And then I am very happy to introduce somebody who's actually a very dear friend, and we are going to have a mix of all age groups here. And this is my dear friend, Dr. Pawankalyan P, who's an MD, who's done his fellowship in allergy and clinical immunology, and he's an FIAP, his fellowship in pediatric pulmonology and sleep medicine from Australia. He is a professor at the Dr. PSI MS and Research Foundation, Chinna Uttapalli. He is the chairperson-elect for the IAP MEC group, and many, many things to say. He's been a executive board member of the Indian Academy of Pediatrics. But more than all of this, he manages to combine half a day working in the private medical college as a teacher, and then he goes a few miles away from the city and has his own setup where he's doing pediatric as well as sleep and pulmonary practice. So ladies and gentlemen, let's all welcome our dear friend, Dr. Pawankalyan.
Thank you, Dr. Samir. Thank you very much for the invite.
So we'll be looking at that aspect from you. And finally, the guest which we have is a very young person, a youngster who's making waves in Indian Academy of Pediatrics. And I knew it because when she was doing her postgraduation, she was in Mumbai. And I had a distinguished honor and pleasure of her as well as Dr. Vasudha working with me in my developmental pediatrics clinic while they were doing their MD. And I could tell that she and Vasudha are both going to have a wonderful career ahead. And then after doing her MD, much to my disappointment, she did not take up developmental pediatrics, but she went to Bristol to do rheumatology. And what was developmental pediatrician's loss is the gain of rheumatology. And she's come back to India, and now she's an esteemed and already at this age, esteemed pediatric rheumatologist working in Bangalore at the Rainbow Children's Hospital in Bangalore. So welcome to you, Dr. Chandrika.
Thank you so much, Dr. Samir. I think it's my privilege to be among so many esteemed panelists today.
All right. So thank you, ladies and gentlemen. So let's set on now with the first discussion. We are all going to look at this various aspects. And I'm going to begin by actually reading out to you a message which has been sent to me by a pediatrician today. And just if you give me a message, this is by Dr. Siri Huvinahol from Tumkur, Karnataka. And she says, sir, my question I'd like to ask is, grass is always green on the other side. For someone who's working in the medical college, longs for the autonomy one gets in their own clinic or nursing home, while one who's doing private practice has FOMO of academic growth and discussion, which is available in medical colleges. A government practitioner yearns for both, but may not have financial stability and power. So how does one choose the right platform to understand pediatrics. And this is a lady pediatrician who's just become a mother, 6-month-old child. So I can understand, Dr. Siri, your worries. So Dr. Chandrika, let me begin with the youngest member on the panel today. You did your MD from a great institution. You were at Manipal before that. Then you went to Bristol. You decided to come back. What were the things that you thought about? What were the challenges you faced at the beginning of your career? Had you not taken a specialty like rheumatology and had only done your MD as compared to when you wanted to set up practice as a rheumatologist? So what were the challenges you faced and what were the learnings that you have that you'd like to share with our audience? Over to you, Dr. Chandrika.
Yeah. So after I completed my residency in pediatrics, I had two options. One was to continue as a general pediatrician or to study further. So what I believed at that point in time was that the career growth would take longer if I did general pediatrics, and probably doing a specialty practice would cut short those years to establish myself. So then I decided to take up a niche specialty like pediatric rheumatology, again because I felt there were not many people practicing already in the field and I was interested in it as well. So I went abroad, completed my fellowship, and when I came back to India, I knew that the scope of pediatric rheumatology here was still evolving. And to establish myself, to grow a meaningful practice and the specialty, I needed to be in a tier 1 city. So all the options of going to a tier 2 city were out because I thought the level of awareness regarding rheumatological diseases or the access to probably high-end diagnostics or a multidisciplinary team is going to be more in a city, in a tier 1 city. And because Bangalore is home, it made sense. It was both a personal and a professional decision to come back to Bangalore back then. So here again, I had an option whether I wanted to continue as a general pediatrician with a special interest in pediatric rheumatology, or I solely focused on pediatric rheumatology alone. And again, for the good or the bad, I chose the latter. I decided to do only pediatric rheumatology and not general pediatrics at all. Again, I must say I had the benefit in that I was not compelled to earn a lot initially to support a family. So this decision was kind of easier. I do understand if that was the case, probably I would have done general pediatrics with pediatric rheumatology until I established myself. So again, being a first generation doctor in my family, I had no one to back me. It was definitely a steep climb, being new to a specialty in a new city, professionally new, and also in a new setup completely. So at this point, even I did not know what setup would actually work for me. And that is when I decided to explore all avenues. So I joined as a visiting consultant. I joined a trust model hospital. I joined an adult rheumatology unit and I joined a corporate hospital. And then I thought, let me see which of these three models would help me establish my specialty. And over time, what I felt that obviously all three had their pros and cons, but I felt that in a corporate setup, there was more flexibility and independence in establishing a specialty from scratch. And that is when I narrowed down upon settling down in a corporate hospital. Again, when I trained abroad, I kind of realized that the scope of rheumatology was way larger than what we perceive it to be over here. And again, this corporate setup allowed me to reach out the whole scope of services of pediatric rheumatology. I could expand not just into cold rheumatological diseases, but acute rheumatology as well. So I got involved in ICU and across different pediatric subspecialties. So I think for me, definitely the corporate model helped my specialty and for me to establish myself to a certain extent so far.
So you'd say that if you have a specialty, then you have to go either the corporate model, corporate way. But if you are not a specialist and you are a generalist, then maybe you can start your own clinic. Why did you not go to Mysore, for example, or Raichur? Why did you select Bangalore? And would it have made a difference to your practice?
I mean, this is what I thought because I thought a tier 2 city may not be as conducive for a subspecialty practice like pediatric rheumatology, which was very niche in itself. Even in a tier 1 city, it has been a huge struggle. So obviously tier 2 would have exponentially increased that.
Right. So the points coming out, if the higher the qualification or the more the specialty you have, you need to be in a bigger city and probably in a niche environment. So thanks a lot, Dr. Chandrika. Dr. Piyush Gupta, sir, you've been a doyen of guiding so many hundreds and thousands of students. Now, I'm going to ask you, had Chandrika come back from Bristol and asked you for advice and come to meet you, would you have given her advice on the same lines? And how would you have told her about following the path that you have followed? What could be the pros and cons, and how would you guide somebody who just come back from, say, Bristol with rheumatology yesterday?
Uh, I would have simply asked only one thing. For me, it is not important means whether you go for a government job or you go for a private job, you go for clinic, your own clinic, you go for a corporate job. You just think one thing in life. What is your passion? What do you like? What will make you most happy? Is it money that you are after? You want more money in life? You want name and fame in life? You want to serve the people? That's all. That will make you happy. You will have a good sleep, even if you don't have money. You want to be a good publisher, or you want to be a good researcher. So many things. So many things. What you want to be known as, or what is your passion exactly. So I think I'll go for that. I'll just give you my example. I never wanted to become a doctor. I always wanted to become a teacher. My mom was a you can say a lady health visitor, and she wanted her son to become a doctor because she could not become a doctor. And because of her, I took a plunge in medicine. Otherwise, I used to gather all my friends and take their classes in my higher secondary and in my schools. I used to set papers for them. So that was a regret. I could not become a teacher. But after I took up medicine and after I graduated, I did post-graduation, I realized that there are teachers who are teaching us. They're also doctors. So I could follow the same. So I just lived my passion. I think you should concentrate on what your passion is. It's not about, you can excel if you are doing your passion, whether you are in government job, you are in the private job, you are in corporate sector, you are anywhere else. So to me, I would have asked Chandrika, what is your passion? What do you love doing best? What do you love doing most? And I think that will be my primarily my answer. Then your passion could be teaching, your passion, as I said, it could be research. So then you should go for a medical college setting. And I would strongly advise against, means there are now in Delhi medical colleges, government medical colleges, we are into teaching and research. We don't practice. So that gives us ample time in the evening. That gives us ample time in the morning. So I would suggest anybody who is interested in teaching and research solely should not have practice at all, or just give 1 hour at the most. Otherwise, you can't do justice. You can't do justice to both. Or you have practice, you go for practice. You love patients, only you go for patient care. But when we are working in a medical college setup also, we have to do teaching, we have to do research, we have to do patient care, we have to do administration. But out of these 4 or 5 things, we find we spend maximum time in that activity in which our passion lies. So whenever I got an opportunity to teach, I'll catch hold of a student. If there was a colleague of mine, whenever he used to rush to patients, and whenever he had an opportunity, he used to go to the wards. So it is upon, again, I say, it's your passion. And if you live your passion, you will excel in life. I think thank you.
So just a aside, I understand exactly what you said, but for somebody who's around 28, 29, 30, 31, it's not very easy for the person to exactly know for sure that this is the passion that they want to pursue for the rest of their life. वो बच्चों को कहते हैं ना, 8th standard में वो कहता है मुझे पायलट बनना है, 9th में he says I want to be a doctor, then 10th he wants to become an actor. So somewhere that continues even after your graduation. So any idea how you can still start off with?
I agree. लेकिन इस एज तक आते आते ये पता लग जाता है कि मुझे किस चीज में खुशी मिली थी.
Okay.
वही करना है. मुझे किस चीज में करने में सबसे ज्यादा, I felt that was most, and at some time destiny is also takes you somewhere. That is also important. And I'll just give you one brief example. If we have just a minute, I came back after completing my senior residency from Banaras Hindu for my post graduation from Banaras Hindu University, and my first interview was at Sir Gangaram Hospital, where Dr. Arya was there. He was, so I went there for a senior. I told him after around 10 or 15 years when I was a speaker and he was chair, कि sir आपने मेरा interview लिया. And he said, when can you join? I said, sir, I can, only 3 days back I was married. I'm going for a honeymoon. and I'll be back in around 10 days and I'll join after that. He said, no, you join from tomorrow, honeymoon के लिए बाद में छुट्टी दे देंगे. मैंने कहा, sir, I can't do that. So they didn't let me join. I think as soon as I came back, I got into a senior residency into a government hospital. So that was a destiny part. Maybe I would have stayed at Gangaram. I would have been in corporate sector. Anupam के साथ काम कर रहे होते या कहीं कुछ ऐसा. But that was not to be. So कई बार luck or destiny takes you somewhere where you love it the most.
तो चलिए इसमें हम मानते हैं कि भाभी का भी बड़ा हाथ था. Lovely. So we got the best of you thanks to her, which I always say. So thank you so much. But now I'm going to come to our dear Dr. Anupam Sibal, sir. So I'm going to ask you two questions. But the first question is again, how would you as a senior, so many people you have mentored, including me. So what advice would you give somebody like Dr. Chandrika Bhat, who's just come back from abroad or may not have? She must have done a specialization or only her MD here and wants to start her practice. So what factors would you suggest that students or doctors consider at the beginning of their career? And then what are the pros and cons of a corporate job that you would ask them to keep in mind when they start off?
See, it's very, very important to identify what makes you happy. You have to identify your ikigai. And everybody's kind of read that book, the Japanese philosophy, of course, the world needs it. So that is answered. The world is always going to need pediatricians. The world is always going to need pediatric specialists. So that's answered. You love it. This is extremely important. You have to love it because if you want to be successful and you want to make a big difference, then you're going to put in 12, 14 hours a day. And so you have to love it. So this should not be about work. This should not be, listen, I look forward to Sunday. No, it's a question of, I look forward to Monday because I'm so excited about doing what I really love. You are great at it. So, everybody knows that at a pretty young age, are you going to be good at this or are you going to be great at this? And good is the enemy of great. Many of us are content in being good, but good is definitely the enemy of great.
Wow.
So are you going to be great at it? And of course, let the truth be told. Money is important. Everybody has needs. And as the world becomes more materialistic and perhaps, access to everything anywhere in the world becomes available, young people have kids who want exactly what is available in New York and London. So you need the money. And so you have to get paid for what you love doing. So that is what my advice to everyone is. And, we have what 4% of India's DNBs. We have 54 specialties where we train 1,300 DNB trainees. And we have this conversation. Hey, listen, what is it that you want to do? You want to go abroad, come back? Great idea. You want to settle abroad because, you believe that that's where you're going to be happy. You want to go back to your hometown. You want to work in one of the large Apollo hospitals or other private hospitals. You want to go to a medical school. Now, I want to also bust this myth that used to exist when we guys were training. Government, private. Private means, you're seeing patients from morning to night and you don't do this and you don't do that. Government, you are seeing, you're teaching, you are training, you are very busy doing clinical rounds and all, and you can't really go down cutting edge stuff. All that is really a thing of the past. I'll give you examples from us in the private sector. We do a lot of research. We published 1,050 papers at Apollo last year. So you can publish, you can do pretty meaningful research, you can teach, you can subspecialize, you can excel doing that in the private sector. And at the same time, you can do all of that in the public sector. The only difference is, and in the private sector, money is easier and is a lot more than it can be in the public sector. But again, how much is enough? You have to define what is enough, because the needs can always be met and the wants will never be met. So if you own a hospital, then you want to own a chain of hospitals. And if you have a chain of hospitals, then you want a conglomerate that is across industries. So you have to decide how much is enough. And I am a huge supporter. I used to sit on the board of PGI. And I used to say we have to increase salaries in the public sector. We have to give more grants. Out of the research money that they get, there should be a lot more flexibility. If we want really, really bright, committed people like Piyush to go into the public sector today, we're going to have to do a lot more than we are doing today to support the public sector.
True.
I like to just
Yes.
comment on the money aspect. I never was short of money. I was never, even when my salary was 3,000 rupees a month, I was
We
never.
all started there, Piyush. We all started with less than that. But the
Yeah,
question is, the world has changed. Your generation and my generation is different. Please talk to a 32-year-old.
yeah.
It's very
I
different.
understand.
And that is the reason why you are seeing in certain jobs, in the services, in the government sector, in medicine, there are guys who are and girls who are going in with huge amounts of commitment, and we need to respect that. And why should they not get paid? Let's look at the example of Singapore. The public servants are paid at par with the highest jobs in the private sector. There's a huge contribution that anyone makes when they go into the public sector, and that needs to be respected. Why do we have to go on saying, no, this is enough? It's not enough. Why shouldn't it be more? I want to say. Why not? We are the fourth largest economy in the world.
नहीं, अभी तो enough है यार. I think it
So,
is
no,
enough.
enough we
There is
can
no
define.
limit. There is no
No,
limit
no, that is
enough.
different.
There is
That
never
is
enough in
different.
life.
Yeah, no,
So,
needs
but
and
you have
wants
to
की मैं
set a
बात नहीं
limit
कर
for
रहा हूँ.
yourself कि हाँ इतना काफी है.
100% Piyush, no dispute in needs versus wants. But I'm just saying is that why should someone in the public sector be denied of anything economically is my very simple submission.
Don't think
Okay.
they are.
That's my only point.
You are speaking on our side. That's
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So I am very happy to see somebody from the industry appreciating the fact that, in fact, competition is going to be good for everybody. I think that's what sir is trying to say. And hence, we need to even nurture the public health system so it keeps everybody's better and better and it benefits the child eventually. Sir, I want to come back to you later about your stint in the management side, which has always charmed me. But before.
Samir, I just want to add
Yes,
one
sir.
thing for the
Please.
youngsters.
Yes, sir.
All of you must have seen the movie DDLJ. So there is a dialogue from Shah Rukh Khan. I remember that. There are no shortcuts in life. किसी भी जगह पहुंचने के दो रास्ते हैं. एक रास्ता लंबा है, एक छोटा है. लंबा रास्ता से आपको टाइम ज्यादा लगता है, लेकिन जहां आप पहुंचते हो वहां आप सस्टेन रहते हो. छोटे रास्ते से आपको टाइम कम लगता है, लेकिन वहां की आपकी स्टेबिलिटी भी कम रहती है. That's all I wanted to emphasize.
Absolutely. So I think that's brilliant. We are going to come back to this debate, and I'm now going to get Dr. Soonu Udani, madam, to jump in, and I'm sure she has her own point of view. So, madam, after all you've come back, came back from the US again, as I'm aware, and then you decided to join Hinduja Hospital, if I'm not mistaken, at that time. What was going on in your mind? What do you feel at that time? But more importantly, today, what would you suggest to our pediatricians who are in their even 40s or late 30s? What would you suggest, madam?
So, at the outset, let me say that I agree with everything Dr. Piyush and Anupam have said, because I think passion is most important. And today, it's very hard to even get into medicine. They have to go through so many exams. And when young people ask me that I want to become a doctor, should I do it? I only say one thing: do it only if you have a passion for it. If you cannot imagine yourself doing anything else and you really have a passion for it, go for it. Let me rewind a bit on your question, Samir, that why did I go to the US in the first place? I went because I felt at the end of my MD, which was in 1981, that I wasn't adequately trained. I was not confident that I would be able to go out in the world and treat children the way they should have been treated. So we thought that maybe we should go into the US. And at that time, I didn't really think of doing a subspecialty. I went there, I did pediatrics, and then I did neonatology. I came back in 1987 and we were exploring avenues because we wanted to come back in the next 1 or 2 years. And we went to a couple of hospitals. At that time, I went to Hinduja Hospital. We saw the place. We thought this is the kind of place that we are used to. This is the kind of place that will give us the satisfaction of working after having worked 5 or 6 years in the US. At that time, we met a doctor who was the medical director, Dr. Sinha. And he told me that what do you want to do this neonatology? We need critical care. There is no pediatric critical care in this country. When you go back, why don't you train in critical care and come back? And I promise you, I'll give you a job. So I actually did that. I went back and did another year and a half in pediatric critical care. And when I came back, there was no Dr. Sinha. He had left. So that's how the cycle started. But I still started working at Hinduja Hospital. Now, you said a trust hospital. That was not the aim. I wanted a hospital that gave the infrastructure, that had teamwork, that had all the subspecialties that we could turn to, because you can't do critical care in isolation. And more important than that, at that point, the hospital was very much committed to even serving the lower socioeconomic group of the population. So that was very important also. And for all the years was there, the support that they gave me in treating patients who could not afford to be treated was tremendous. And the teamwork, etc., was just marvelous. Uh, Actually, forget your question. But then, why did I even move on to another children's hospital? Finally, things do change, and the ethos has changed. Today, the god of medicine in corporate hospitals has become the revenue. Revenue, the top line, is the most important thing. And I will argue with anyone who contends that, because whether you're in Apollo, whether you're in Hinduja, whether you're in the NH system, along with the ethos of treating everybody, there is that line and that eye on revenue. At the same time, moving to a children's hospital, which is very much a trust hospital, which is run by a charitable organization along with a corporation, I find that it's very, very easy to treat the underserved population of this country. And we get people from all over the country. So that was one of the major reasons to change. And not only that, there was a period of stagnation in Hinduja, which I wanted to overcome. And this, at that time in my life, when I was nearing like 65 or something, I felt that this was my last chance to skip over, do something different, establish something new. Just like I had established pediatric intensive care in Hinduja, here was a chance to establish a whole new hospital, of course, with the backing of a very strong corporation that has run successfully many hospitals in the country. Anything I've not answered that you want me to talk about, Samir? Because I think I've
So
forgotten
what
to
would you
check the
advise?
question.
How would you advise somebody to what would they should they consider before joining a trust hospital or a charitable hospital?
Go where your destiny is leading you. Because, like Dr. Piyush said, he went somewhere and landed somewhere else. I started with neonatology and I landed in intensive care, and I've never regretted it. And I think that is it. That don't look for, where am I going to get my BMW the fastest? You'll get it somehow. You'll get it from whether you're working in a trust hospital, a corporate hospital, a charitable hospital. It will come to you. If you chase it, you probably won't get it. And one thing I always remind people is that we are a profession. Why are we called a profession? In the past, in the 18th, 19th century, there were just four professions: the clergy, doctor, lawyer, and teaching. They were called professions because your income, the money you gained, was a byproduct of the service you gave. And I think for doctors, especially, it's very important to remember that the money you get will be a byproduct of the service you give. And I think I have tried to live by that, as have many of my colleagues all around me. One last thing is, when we talk of government versus this, teaching college versus medical college, today the lines have blurred. We are all teaching, we all have DNB programs. And all over the world, the highest respect is given to the professors in teaching colleges. If you're in private practice, you'll say, oh, I better go to that professor. He's got the experience of a medical college. This guy is just doing private practice. So I think that is very, very important, that the respect and dedication that the professors in medical college give is tremendous. And today, even the income that they get is quite good. I agree with Anupam that it should be higher, but it's certainly very good, and it's on par with whatever we are getting in most of our jobs in the corporate versus the trust, etc., etc. So I think those lines are pretty much blurred now.
I agree with you entirely because even if you do get your BMW, where the hell are you going to drive it in city of Mumbai? The less
I
said
mean,
about
as Sonu said, Samir, I think the key is that sometimes when you chase something, it actually evades coming in your way. And if you chase excellence, everything else will follow, money and so on and so forth.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
The goal has to be chasing excellence.
Absolutely.
I'll say you chase your passion, everything will come. The money will come, name will come, fame will
Everything will
come, everything will come. You just choose what you want to do and do it because you won't feel like you're working. You're enjoying every second of it.
Absolutely.
Dil ki baat suno, and that's what we are going to ask now, Dr. Pawankalyan, because you have a different model. You're working part-time in the private sector, in the private medical college, so you still have a bit of teaching experience and available to you. At the same time, you're also doing a private practice a little bit away from the city, and plus you're also doing a super specialty. So tell us about what were the factors that played on your mind with respect to what are the 3 or 4 things that others who are starting out now or who are in the similar place like you should be thinking about.
So, thank you, Samir. Now there are three doyens who spoke about all four are from Tier 1. I'm working in a Tier 2 and a Tier 3 city where it's entirely a different ball game. I'm the third generation doctor. My grandfather was also a doctor. He was an ex-member of Legislative Assembly member, and he was a 1 rupee doctor. He used to carry that in the old movies, that suitcase everywhere. And the compounder earned more money than my grandfather, and he's been the happiest person. So it's always the passion, which what sir said. So passion ke liye. And second, when I did my pediatric pulmonology, because I started as a general pediatrician, and I was looking into different fellowships. I was looking, and when I started and I tried to approach AIMS, New Delhi, they said that private college is not allowed for your fellowship or observership. Sorry, we cannot give. Then I had to look around the world. And from my college of Bharati Vidyapith, I had a connection. Then it's all about the things which I have done. So it's very difficult when you practice. And at the end of the day, it's not only the passion and the practice, it is about the family. Now I have a 75-year-old mom and dad living with me, a 70-year-old father-in-law and a 60-year-old mother-in-law. So everything combined, I'm living in a place of a two-tier where I am with them. Money will always be there. And what you have seen in Corona is always family. So if I'm happy, yes, I'm contented, I'm enough. But what I feel is that you don't get enough when you live in a two-tier city. People from cities doesn't come back to two-tier for getting a pediatric pulmonologist being here. No, we wanted a city. So that is the reason I had to juggle between a corporate hospital, a two-tier hospital, and my passion is towards teaching. So I said, okay, I have to do something to be updated, to be upgraded, or whatever you want. You have to be in a college. So what are the three things? Where you want to settle? Or you wanted to settle in? Everybody are looking into city. Then who are looking at the peripheries? The main problem when they come to peripheries is that school education for the kids. So that is the first point. And the money. The establishment remains to be the same in a two-tier or a three-tier. Only thing what you cut down on cost is about the staff. The cost of the staff which you would be is a bit low. So when you are trying to start, look at the place where if you're a new naive and you have just finished, because there are lots of hurdles, being after passing of the pediatrics, you need to someone, you are at the pediatric posting, you are being handled by your professor, you might be how much good, you need to have an attachment with the professor senior who would be there. So first thing is the place where you want to settle. Invest on equipments. It has to be good standardized equipments. Don't come to cheap, because that will come. Don't look for patient footfall. Look for the don't be heroic when you started a practice. Take all emergency cases that I am very well versed. So you have to be very, very careful when we take it. Third is you have a senior beside you who would be seeing 200 patients and you would be seeing only 20, 30. You need to be patient, keep calm, and point. So the three idiot principle, what everybody has mentioned, don't chase for money or this thing, chase for the excellence, everything will fall in place. When I started with 20 patients. When I left my practice to go to fellowship, I've ended with 150. So it's all depends upon the passion. So give time, patient. You have to invest on the equipments. Trust a patient. What you have to build trust, not the footfall. And I said you have to be patient. These are the three key points. And family and money. You have to choose. And if you have to choose, you have to get contented. Don't cry or cribble. Your friend might be in BMW. You might be in a both are cars. Comfort. It's all about the comfort. And if you compare yourself with the general medicine, our branch is not that lucrative as compared. So everything, everywhere if you start comparing. So stop comparing yourself with anybody, then it will be your life would be very happy. These are my messages, Dr. Samir.
I think one very important point you brought out, Pawan, is that there has to be a thinking also about your family, especially the parents, etc. You mentioned about your parents and your in-laws. So I think that also definitely figures in the decision for many, many people. I'd like to come to Dr. Anupam Sibal, sir, and I have always, had this question for you, is that you are already such a brilliant clinician. I mean, everything that one could do, you've already done it in a clinical this thing. What got you to think that I should also, you know, get into management, if I can use those words, or what drove you? And I'm again asking you, not from your personal point of view, that is the discussion today, is for the audience. What would you tell the audience ki agar Samir sun raha hai, when does Samir realize that beyond clinics now I have to look into, or I can do management? When would you tell us what are the signs? I'm running a small nursing home, I want to go corporate, or I'm already into a private practice, I want to leave it and join a corporate. And in that corporate, I now want to shift from a clinical part to a management part. Should I do both? Should I only focus on one? How do you guide us?
Right. So I think to answer your question, I think I might be able to sort of shed better light if I look at my example. And this
Sure.
goes back to what has been said, destiny. It's all about destiny. I had gone to train in pediatric gastroenterology, hepatology, saw an Indian child not make it there because it was very hard to get a liver, decided want to come back to India and set up a liver transplant program. Dr. Reddy gave us that opportunity. We did that. Went on clinically, was growing great guns. Uh, just met Dr. Reddy once, and I had a set of suggestions saying, could we do all this, and that? And he very patiently listened to me like he always does. And he said, let me come back to you. So a week later, he called me and he said, I've gone through your note on the changes. You think you can make the changes? I was like really surprised by that. And I said, why not? And he said, okay, well, I invite you to become the medical advisor of this hospital. We'll see how it goes over 6 months. And so I became the medical advisor. And 6 months later, he said, well, you become the medical director of Apollo Hospital, Delhi. And then a few years later, become the group medical director. I had zero plans, zero inclination to become an administrator. In fact, I even asked Dr. Reddy, I said, I don't have an MBA. Everybody who will be reporting to me will have an MBA. And Dr. Reddy said, well, neither did I do any management. And my second question was, I love medicine. And how will I manage? He said, well, I saw patients till I was 72. Figure it out. I shall never ask you how you manage your time. So I was very lucky. God has been super kind. It's a destiny. But for anyone who wants to go into management, today's time, one, it's very hard to be able to do both and excel. And frankly, in the corporate world today, if you really want to become a medical director, a chief operating officer, or a CEO, you will have to give up clinical medicine. That's the way forward. And you should do an MHA or an MBA. Now, if you have your own hospital, then anyway, you're a manager because you're managing your own place, your own nursing home, and then you can figure out what you want to do going forward. But yes, a management degree to my mind is pretty critical if you have any interest in taking up a managerial position. But it is pretty hard now to be able to do both. And very few hospitals will allow an administrator to actually also do clinical work.
So just a quick aside to that. Now, I have been working maybe in a polyclinic or a nursing home, or I can join a corporate hospital and I can get up to doing the management part of it. Like you said, in my own private small nursing home, I'm doing the management part as well. What should tell me that, okay, now I'm prepared to maybe take an investor, maybe grow it up, maybe make it into a chain? So
Again, it depends on what's driving you. This question has been asked repeatedly by people over the years saying, listen, what does it take to actually become an entrepreneur? Either you have it in you or you don't. And again, it depends on what's driving you. So there are those individuals who are driven by, hey, listen, I created something. And so I had one nursing home and now I have a chain. I had one hospital, I have a chain of hospitals, and you see yourself as a creator. And then there are people who are very content in doing what they're doing in terms of serving their patients and also doing some administration. So it largely depends on what drives you. The mindset of an entrepreneur is very different to the mindset of other professionals.
Right.
So you know from within whether you want to do it. Now,
Correct.
clearly, I see Samir, you as an entrepreneur. So you have it in you, and you've taken the steps in that direction, and you will continue to do more, and will excel. But you know from within whether you want to. And I, for one, would never want to be an entrepreneur. I'm very happy doing my clinical work and admin, making a small difference in a very, very small manner, and very happy and content at doing that. So it largely depends on what drives you, and what really makes you happy, and
Absolutely.
what makes you really excited about doing this endlessly, day in and day out.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. I'd like to come to Dr. Soonu Udani again. Ma'am, how does one choose whether if I'm joining a hospital, maybe it's a corporate hospital or a trust hospital, should I join some which is only a pediatric hospital, or can I join a hospital where pediatrics is one of the part of the general hospital? What are the factors that matter in
Yeah,
making this decision?
I would say that preferably a pediatric hospital if it's available. There are not that many pediatric hospitals running around the country, and many of them are privately owned. They are, sort of not tertiary care centers. So it really depends on what you get, what is available to you. The advantages of working in a pediatric hospital is that, yes, it's completely designed for children. Everyone is geared towards children. And in a hospital where children are a part of that, whether you have 1 floor, 2 floors, 3 floors, children do not make money for the hospital. And so you're always a second sort of a priority for hospital administration. And the driving force of a pediatric department in a general hospital has to do that much more work to get things for the department. So if you're in a hospital that has a good pediatric department, you have all the subspecialties, you don't always have to take the help of adult super specialists, you're lucky. But in a pediatric hospital, all your super specialists will be geared towards children. They've done their pediatrics, they're all geared towards pediatrics, and it makes a huge difference. Right from the attitude of the nurses to the administrators to everybody, the atmosphere of a children's hospital is definitely much more vibrant and has a good feeling. Most children's hospitals that you'll see, the atmosphere is really light. The hospitals are decorated for children, and that is only one part of it. But the administration and the medical administration is all geared towards children. From the drugs you get to everything is geared towards children. So there are significant advantages to working in a children's hospital. And I have discovered that I I wouldn't say much happy. I was very happy at Hinduja, but it's very different working in a purely children's hospital. There's so much more you can do.
Samir, if I might just
Yes,
add
sir.
on to what
Please,
Sonu just
please.
said, and I
Yes.
totally echo what Sonu said, with just 2 points. One is that it also depends on your specialty. Now, if your specialty is so complicated that you're not going to have the resources in a children's hospital. For example, if you do really complicated oncology, you need radiation, you need a PET CT in-house, and it's never going to be viable for a children's hospital to have that. Or if you're doing liver transplants, it's not going to happen in a children's hospital. It only happens in the West because they have crazy grants to be able to do that. And Sonu is absolutely right. Pediatrics is very hard to make a name within a very large super specialty, tertiary level, quaternary level, multi specialty hospital. And that's where you have to make that extra effort by actually doing a whole lot of additional work. For example, of all the liver transplants that we do, we've raised 25 crores in the last 5 years to do free transplants. And we've got a lot of tie-ups with charities. So, you have to build that visibility. Our oncology teams does that. Our pediatric cardiac team does that. So you have to work a lot harder to make your presence felt if you are in a multi-specialty hospital. But sometimes your specialty is so complex that you cannot not have access to 2 cath labs and a DSA and so on and so forth. So
We need
a
that.
standalone children's hospital will not allow you to be able to get to that world-class level in your specialty.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So thank you for that, Dr. Piyush, sir. I just would like to ask you, like we spoke about eventually following your heart, and then you start with either a government service or you start a teaching profession or you start into a private setup. But over a period of time, there is always something that these same values like service or academic interest or work-life balance, do they kind of start playing on your mind, even if you are happy with the choice of work that you had taken initially? Do these things change? And then do you look at a second innings? How would you come to that?
These are two things. Number one is, do your priorities change? Yes, your priorities change in life. Initially, most of the physicians, most of the pediatricians would be interested, or maybe let's say they're into patient care. They're into service. I'm just reading a message on the chat. After doing 25 years of vigorous practice in small owned nursing home in tier 2 city, I feel exhausted, empty, out of mainstream academics, want to do second inning. This is the feeling that happens. After you do 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, वो patient आप करते रहो, एक दिन आएगा आप थक जाओगे. There are people who don't get tired. I salute them. They're really superb. They can go and they are the real people who serve the patients. But ये हम भी serve करते हैं. But yes, there is a trajectory. From patient care, you want sometime in life कि थोड़ा academics होना चाहिए. Academics के बाद then you say कि okay, I want to have something in the administration. Then after that, you want to move to a leadership role. And from a leadership role, you want to move to a policy making role at the national level, maybe at different levels. So this is the trajectory which usually most people are happy in, that yes, you are rising one above the other. But while doing this, I always say it was never my priority to become an administrator. I used to say I will never become a head of the department, and I became the principal. And it's all, as I said, a destiny also, and your priorities change. It's all very dynamic in nature, because you feel that unless you take a leadership role, you can't bring the change you want to be. आप कहते रहते हो ये होना चाहिए, कौन करेगा? आपको करना है ना. You have to take the responsibility, you have to take the honors, so you have to go to that. You can't say no, I am happy at this, I won't do this. और जब आप unhappy होते हो, then the time doesn't is not there. So this is the thing. Coming to that second inning question. Now again, there are two things. One is, क्या आप second inning खेलना चाहते हो? या आपको लगता है मैं पहली इनिंग में इतना स्कोर बना लूं, फॉलो ऑन पे फॉलो ऑन देते जाऊं, I don't need a second inning. I am happy in my first inning. I said I salute those people. But if you have to play a second inning, play your first inning fast. Score as much runs as you can in a less number of time in your first inning and declare. Don't wait to get out of the first inning. Declare करो, second inning शुरू करो, जल्दी शुरू करो, so that you can play. हो सकता है आपको एक third inning का भी मौका मिले. Thank you.
Absolutely. Dr. Pawan, at your stage, are you thinking of a second innings? Are you planning to get out of what you're doing? Do you have
basically, I'm doing so many things at a time. So I'm happy with the teaching. So whenever I feel I can close my hospital and then continue my teaching profession. I'm also working in a corporate. So I'm doing the third innings as well. So I have no issue. What the thing is that in the two-tier city is very difficult to run a pulmonology where you are. As Dr. Chandrika said, when you have come from all the way, I'm the only pediatric pulmonologist when I started here, and I'm staying here. I'm still happy. Only thing is that, as Dr. Anupam said, you will not have all the facilities what you wanted to develop. So you have to get attached to an adult interventional pulmonologist. So I've got attached to adult interventional pulmonologist. So you need to play your games around it and find where you get everything at a single go. So you need to get attached, and that's it. So I'm playing all the three innings. So whenever I feel fed up, that is the reason I'm just continuing my teaching. So by evening I come and see the OPD. So you have all sorts of flavor in your food as a spice what you have. So that's what I think.
I just want to a point of debate here. यहाँ भी है, chat में भी है. We are from tier 2, tier 3 cities. All these three doyens are from tier 1 city. So I want to, why you are bragging about कि tier 2, tier 3 से हैं, हम पीछे रहेंगे, हमें वो मौका नहीं है, क्यों नहीं है यार? I don't know. Maybe I don't realize the problems all of you face in tier 2, tier 3 cities. Definitely problems होंगे. But I like to hear more from others on this topic because I will be enlightened about this. Is it really a big problem to live in tier 2 and tier city, and then also not to be able to live to your passion because you are living in tier 2 or tier 3 city?
Can I say something here in this context? Many of our intensive care fellows train and they go back home. And honestly, when they give us the feedback or they call up for an issue, they are so happy. And the work they are doing is so much more important than me sitting in an ivory tower and treating children who can be treated by several other hospitals in the city. Yeah, they are doing a stellar job. They're doing what they need and they're really happy. They're working their butts off, yes, but they're really happy doing what they did. And not one of them has actually told me that they've regretted going back home to their tier two cities and doing what they do. And they have a passion for it and they're serving themselves as well as their families and their patients. So I think these lines are blurring a lot now. Tier one, tier two, tier three. I don't think they have that much meaning anymore.
Madam, can I, because you're not being in tier 2 or tier 3, I'll tell you there are certain things. The payment, the financial issues, one. Two, the backup. You have a multi-specialty things where in a tier 2, you're the only pediatrician, you don't have a subspecialty, neither you have a blood bank, neither you have a CT. So there are certain
Well,
things.
there are drawbacks. I don't deny that.
So the
Absolutely.
things are, so we are still enjoying, but when you do the same amount of hard work, and at the end the moment the patient would say, sir, abhi we will take him to a better hospital, bada hospital le lo, and
Yeah.
he's about to get cured, then what is the
That
point?
is
We
frustrating, no doubt.
so
No
that is,
doubt.
so I'll give one example, madam. I will tell you one example which really, I woke up at 4 o'clock in when I was doing my general practice. He had a blood sugar of low, and I did everything. Morning when I said, this is the place where you cannot, he said that I will take the second hospital which has no facility, and the experience plays, the next matter plays. And then when you refer to higher center, when they come back, ये डॉक्टर है ना मैडम, हर बार बड़ा हॉस्पिटल के बेचता है. There are certain lacunae which you have, and it really frustrates
No
because when you,
doubt.
so everybody has, the only thing is that yes, the amount when we spend, the patient expects the royalty care like in a corporate, and the payment to a tier 2 tier 3 would be less. That is what, when you work hard and you paid less, people start cribbling. But you have to get used to it. When you have thought of settling here, yes, it's common. So I said, I may not have a bench, but I have a car which I'm comfortable with. See, I didn't,
Absolutely. I mean, gets you from here to there. What more do
Yeah,
you want?
yeah.
yeah. Dr. Baljit has said that the tier 2 cities are tough to practice, but you can drive your BMW easily on roads there. And there are some wonderful comments. I would like all of you to go through the comments, but I'm just wanting to get Chandrika back into discussion.
Before you
Chandrika,
get Chandrika back, she's a young mother,
yes,
a
yes.
young girl. Let me say something a little personal, especially to the women. Generally, the burden of sort of bringing up the child seems to fall on the mother. And you don't want to sacrifice your career for your family. You don't want to sacrifice your family for your career. And that balance is very important. I know, I'll just say something very personal. I'm sure that I neglected my child when I was in that growing career phase and she was a young girl going to school. And you feel it later because then once they are in their teens, they're off on their own, they're doing their own thing, and you miss out on that. So I will not just say it to the mothers, but I will also say it to young parents. Please make time for your family. You're not going to get that back. Your career will grow over the years. Your family is what you also need to make time for. Find that work life balance.
The next session is going to be on how we can empower our lady pediatricians to be able to continue to do what is their destiny and their potential. So we are going to take that up. But before that, Chandrika, I want to ask you, is anything in your corporate hospital or practice driving you towards early retirement?
Not at all. I think I can't contemplate.
Lakshay is here and he's laughing. So you better be aware. Boss is watching.
So
Would you want her to retire? She's such a young girl.
I'm just playing around with words. So Chandrika,
Too early to
I,
think about it.
I think
so she can tell us what's keeping her happy. And her boss
I love rheumatology. So I think, as everyone said, passion is extremely important, and I really love what I do. And it has given me an opportunity to sort of start this department from scratch in the place of my practice. So that has had its own challenges, and it's been a great learning experience for me. So I've been very happy doing this. And at the place where I'm in right now, I just want to grow my specialty. So many more years to go before I even think of retirement.
Samir, I've been
Rakshay
going
bhai,
through
Rakshay
the
bhai.
questions.
Yeah.
So just two, three things that I think we should answer as time's running out. Totally agree with what Pawan has said and also Sonu, because we also have a lot of fellows who go into smaller towns. In fact, one of our criteria now is to make sure that we get people from underserved areas. So we trained a lot of people from the Far East, Northeast, and other underserved areas because they go back and make a huge difference. We have 70 cities in India with a population of more than 1 million. And times are changing. Once you get to a critical mass of 1 million, then infrastructure, school, malls, cinemas, everything comes up, and the quality of life becomes better. So it's happening. And for young people, please keep that in mind. You do a DM and go to Dehradun today, you'll be a king. You do a DM in neonatology and come to Delhi, you'll be one among 100. So think about that. The second point, I think about specialization. And I think this is very, very important. And, we might disagree on the group, but I personally feel that the time for general pediatricians, if you're going to train 6,000, is it's going to be very super competitive if you want to live in the metros. Medicine is subspecializing, so you should seriously think about subspecializing in pediatrics. There are good 14 subspecialties now available, and if you're in your late 20s, early 30s, please think about subspecializing, especially if you want to be in a metro, because otherwise it's going to be very, very hard as a general pediatrician in metros. So think about that for sure. And the third thing is that quite often I hear this from a lot of young people. I want to be famous. I want to be like really well known and all. Please remember, we are here to serve a purpose, and let's not take ourselves too seriously because we will all be forgotten tomorrow. I read somewhere, and I remind this myself every day about this, and it's in Urdu, so I'm just going to. It was written on somebody's cover. मैं अहम था यही वहम था. For those who don't understand this, the fact that I thought I was important was my misconception. So let's not kid ourselves that we are important. We will come and we will go. Don't take yourself too seriously. And as Sonu said, don't compromise on relationships and family and looking after your parents and your siblings and your friends because you're in this rat race to see 10 more patients. It doesn't matter in the long run.
Absolutely. Yes, madam.
Anupam, can I just argue with you on one point? Today it's very hard to find a good internist who can look after everything that adult needs. The same way, I think a good general pediatrician is an extremely important part of the community. Whether you're in a tertiary care, 1, 2, 3, whatever you want to call these cities, a good general pediatrician is the backbone of pediatrics. And I would not discourage young people from doing general pediatrics because it has a very, very important place in the scheme of things.
Sure. So no, I mean, don't disagree with you, but I'm basing this on data.
I
If you look at
understand.
our population, you look at the number of internists you produce and the workload, and you look at the number of pediatricians, at 40,000 pediatricians producing 6,000, the government is going to have 120,000 MBBS seats, and in 5 years, 120,000 postgraduates. You're going to produce 10,000 pediatricians. They're really going to struggle. I'm talking about 5 to 7 years from now.
I understand, yes.
Samir, just one point
Yeah.
before everybody. The
Yes.
only thing I just wanted
I'm
today.
going to bring in some others. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
just one question. The one point. Whatever patient is today in your room is today's your patient. Tomorrow it might not be yours. I'll tell you a short example where I've seen a patient where a pediatrician was doing a practice, what sir was saying, 24/7, and the patient, the pediatrician died in corona, knocked the door of the home and said that your pediatrician is not lifting. What has happened? The girl said that my father died. The first question what the patient told, can you tell me a next pediatrician who's available? So we think that patients are we want to be very this thing. It's not the same. Those generation, those eras have gone. Today's patient, what we see in our room is today's patient. Don't keep such an emotional bond. Something is going to somewhere, please. So don't bully your friends. Your friends, your fraternity is always be with you. So don't keep on commenting. So that patient would say, sir, ये doctor नहीं से बोला, वो doctor नहीं से बोला. सब ऐसे बोलते भाई, कुछ नहीं है. Whatever you are. So these are the small things which when you practice, never ever. I would say this is what is a small practical life.
I echo what Anupam sir said कि मैं अहम था यही वहम था. I read a lot of Osho and he says all self is an illusion. So to Pawan, if you bring that up, you won't be worried about these issues. And coming back now, I am going to open it to two more people from outside the panel, Dr. Mahesh Mohite, who is again an example of a wonderful practice, as well as Raksha is here with us. So I'm going to ask you quickly to give your comments. And then Dr. Manmeet is from a tier 3 city and a medical college as well. And a current teacher and a younger person now. So what is her opinion? Quickly, we'll have these 3 points. Mahesh, you want to go first quickly? Mahesh, only 2 minutes.
Just starting from the, am I audible well?
Yes, go ahead quickly.
So justly about, first of all, choosing the subspecialty after specialty, is it really mandatory? Today, if you ask me 5 good cardiologists, 5 good neurologists, 5 good endocrinologists in the country, it's very easy to make that. But ask me 5 good generalists, it's very difficult. And actually, in the future, that's going to be a big need. So when you're going for any subspecialty further, definitely take this into consideration. One. Secondly, as Chandrika said, tier 1 city. So, okay for subspecialty, but I mean, for a general pediatrician, you choose the place where you want to. And over the time, like when I started about 30 years ago, the place where I was sitting was like a bigger village. And today, with a changing demography, changing geography, the thing has become a big town, perhaps next to Mumbai, and maybe airport coming just 2 kilometers away from my place. My place is going to be a far more kind of a prominent city more than Mumbai as well. So don't forget about how the things is going to develop. Just go, start working hard, start working passionately, and put all the efforts. I don't think pediatrics, the birth of pediatricians, wherever you go, the number of population is going so high that there is always going to be demand. So don't think, just wherever you choose the place with your convenience. And I totally agree with Pawan about your elderly and young. My house, we are 4 generations staying together. Believe me, I mean, it's kind of a dream. How many of the families are staying with, I mean, my mother, my family, my children, and his children now. So 4 generations staying together is a big gift today. Believe me, it's a gift. So don't miss out on those gifts. Those are rare gifts somebody kind of gifted with. So that's all I wanted to say. Choose the way, and wherever you want, you start, you will be always be successful if you put all the effort together. And one more thing I always want to tell the younger ones, stay connected to academics all along. That's one thing which is going to increase the longevity of your practice. Stay connected to the academics all along. Thank you.
So stay connected to academics. Raksha bhai, any quick comments from you?
Yeah,
What
so I
is your
think,
experience? What would you advise?
yeah, my advice is there are certain things which significantly decide your quality of life. One is your marriage. Second is the profession specialty you want to choose and where you want to settle down. So don't take those things lightly. So people ask, sir, what's the scope for my specialty? My suggestion has always been choose what resonates with you. Scope will find on its own. If you choose your specialty based on the scope where you're not interested in, you will get burnt out. You will find it very frustrating. Third, choose your place wisely, because you can't keep changing your places in our profession. It's not like engineering profession where we keep changing locations. You need to build a setup, build a practice. So it takes a lot of time. And you are likely to settle down there forever. So these are really big decisions which we need to take. We don't think enough before we take these kind of life-changing decisions. Third, frustration comes when when you're seeking wrong things in wrong places. You can't go to a corporate hospital and think about a lot of academic and research life. Yes, a part of that happens, but that's not the main focus, right? Similarly, you can't go to a government hospital and then expect something very different, a lot of money and financial growth and all that kind of stuff. So having clarity, what you get from each of those places, what resonates with you, is extremely important before you make those choices.
Absolutely. I think that's very well said. And I'm sure we've had a very good round of discussion today. And I think we've had a very good point of view of everybody. I'd just like to, Manmeet, are you there? I was waiting for you quickly. Last 1 minute for you, because you represent a different sector altogether. Quickly. I promised to wind up by 10 o'clock for Piyush, sir. But quickly, if you have a comment, please unmute yourself. You're muted. Please unmute yourself. Dr. Manmeet, you have to unmute yourself. I think we've not been able to connect to you. So I think I'll just close now, because I promised to wind up. So we started on time today. And Dr. Sanjay, sir, you are there. And if for the vote of thanks, if Amol is there. And Sanjay, Deshmukh
Yeah,
for
yes.
yeah. So I'll just wind up by saying that we've had a fascinating discussion today, and I'll just share one small story from my own life because as I started as a general pediatrician, of course, and then I started a child development center. I joined law. I did my LLB at the same time, and I was also writing scripts for plays and films. And my heart actually, Piyush bhai, it was like yours. जो आपने भी नहीं बोला लेकिन मैं बोल रहा हूँ हम लोगों दोनों को राइटर बनना था ये सच बोलिए so we both wanted I mean at least I wanted to be a writer but while doing all this and we started some juvenile jurisprudence and all I asked an uncle of mine what do you think I should do because I'm confused he just laughed and he told me a story about Dr. Baba Saheb Ambedkar and Namdev Desal and he said, Namdev Desal once said that I was holding on to Dr. Baba Saheb's finger while walking and along with him, figuratively, of course. But one day when his hand slipped out from my hand and I started walking on my own and I never realized. And he used to laugh. So I said, Baba ka thoda satak gaya hai. A few years later, on a fourth foundation day of the work that I do, the center I do, I suddenly saw this wisdom of what he had said because I was so involved in the fourth year annual celebration that I had forgotten everything else and I had found my ikigai. And that made me realize that what he said is do everything that comes to your mind. You may have no passions or you may have multiple passions. Do everything. Keep trying. You will gradually find that which selects you to do the best. The trouble is we wait for one doctor or one senior or one professor to come and tell us, "Tu ye kar." Tab main shuru karunga. That I think is the key issue that we have to understand. Because as we said, all self is an illusion. It's all about the time that we spent in this world and about whatever we are able
Very
to.
rightly said. Those of us who are constantly unhappy, I think we are in the wrong profession then. So it's time now. Leave this profession now. If you want to have a happy life, कुछ और करो यार जिसमें मजा
Dr.
आए
Samir, I
वो
am
करो
here because
छोड़ो।
that other phone was not
Go ahead,
letting
go ahead,
me,
go ahead, go ahead, Vicky.
unmute.
You have 1 minute. Go
So
ahead.
just I can only say Piyush sir is totally right. You're totally right. Sometimes we are where we need not be. But the thing is, even if you are somewhere where you need not be, you can make the best of it. And the things may not be, perfectly aligned at most times, but you can always do many things at one time. So it's not a very difficult thing because I come from a setup where it is totally government. Every day it is a problem to find the hygiene worker, the staff nurse, the resources, everything. But then at the end of the day, if you want to work towards the healthcare of children, it actually goes like that. So Piyush sir, you have always been such a big inspiration for me as well, and hopefully we can all make it worthwhile while we are here,
Thank you
whatever
so
way
much.
we work.
Thank you. Dr. Chokhani, last word from you. Rajesh bhai. Okay. I will been a wonderful session and we wish could have continued, but समय की मर्यादा हमेशा होती है. I think I'll hand it back to Dr. Sanjay Pakmode and Dr. Sanjay Deshmukh, and if Amol is there as well. But thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for having joined us on this Wednesday evening when there are so many things to watch, including the OTT and Netflix and the latest series on Prime, Amazon. But you are here to look at what we were doing and supporting us. And I really am grateful for all your questions that you keep sending. We promise you, like I took Dr. Siri's question to begin with, we are going to take more of your sessions and we are going to get more and more of these wonderful experts to come and guide us and to mentor us. So this is your platform where all of us are together going to try and become smarter as pediatricians and live a happier life, because at the end of the day, that's the final purpose of life. So it's over to you, Dr. Sanjay. Thank you very much. And
Amazing.
Sanjay, Sanjay, 1 second. I'm
Yes,
so sorry.
yes.
Just permit me just one more minute. Absolutely. I have to just show you this one slide. I'm so sorry. Just 1 second. And this is about what's in store for the next session. So one moment. Yeah. Right. So next week we have a program not from Smart Pediatrician, but we've been doing a series from Mumbai called Zara Hatke, Zara Bachke. Topics which are a little off the road, but those which can be dangerous for the child as well as the pediatrician. And now we've taken a very, very, very complex topic next Wednesday, July 9th at 9 p.m. Beyond the binary, understanding the gender spectrum. And my wonderful team from IIP Mumbai has come up with these terms, and Dr. Amruta, who's on the screen with us here, is going to be my co-moderator. And we have Dr. Harish Premde, Dr. Arman Pandey, who's a psychiatrist, and our dear Dr. Preeti Galgali, who are going to unravel this. Even more interesting, which I wanted to share with you, is the next topic on Smart Pediatrician is going to be understanding and enabling lady pediatricians to achieve their potential. I think this is going to touch everyone's raw nerve, and we are going to have a panel already aligned for it, which will be Dr. Najma Heptullah, who is a past governor of Manipur, past union minister, and she was the deputy chairperson of Rajya Sabha, and yet has been able to lead such a wonderful personal and professional life combined. We are going to have Mrs. Supriya Sule, Member of Parliament, Lok Sabha, who again runs her own party, her own constituency, and 2 kids and a husband and a family, etc. And she's going to share with us. And of course, we are going to have Dr. Swati Bhave with us for this. So please stay tuned and join us next time. Dr. Gurdeep, quickly last 30 seconds for you, and then I hand it over to Dr. Sanjay.
हेलो सर, आई वाज ऑन यूट्यूब वाचिंग यू बट बाद में मैंने ज्वाइन किया और डेवलपमेंट यू आर डूइंग वेरी गुड वर्क इन योर फील्ड और मैंने यही ऐड करना हमारे अल्फाबेट्स वर्ड्स बन जाते हैं वर्ड सेंटेंस हैबिट पर्सनैलिटी एंड वो हमारा करेक्टर बन जाता है सो व्हाट डू यू थिंक वी बिकम्स तो इसलिए अच्छा सोचो आप अच्छा सोचते हैं अच्छा बनेगा सब कुछ डू ऑल आर गुड
Thank you so much. Also, Neil Ben, Dr. Rajesh Kasla, Dr. Amruta for having stayed back with us this late. And of course, I have to be huge debt of gratitude and gratefulness to our wonderful speakers, Dr. Piyush Bhai, Dr. Anupam sir, my dear Dr. Soonu Madam, Dr. Pawankalyan, and Dr. Chandrika. And my best wishes to you for a great health, great success, and happiness always. Over to Dr. Sanjay.
Thank you. Good night, everyone. Thank you.
Good night.
Thank you
Thank you
all
very
the
much.
stalwarts for joining the today's episodes. Your advice and your experience will definitely will help the budding pediatricians and who are practicing, and they will definitely take the different advices so that it will help them in making the choices. And everybody said you should follow your passion. I think that is the best thing, and this piece of advice will be used by the people of my age and the budding pediatricians, and they are going to help in the long run for making their life for keeping the happiness in their life. So everybody talked, and ultimately the myth means the lesson was that follow your passion, then you can be happy at your workplace as well as you're in the family. Thank you all the stalwarts for the joining. And from the MAHA IAP platform, I'm really thankful to Dr. Piyush Gupta sir, Anupam Sibal sir, Soonu Udani madam, and Chandrika madam, and Pawankalyan sir. And thank you all the senior CIP people who have joined for the today's episode. I'm all the thankful to all the attendees. And good night to all of you, sir.
Thank you.